President, can you clarify, hopefully once and for all, what your expectations are with this email to federal employees? What are you going to use that information for? And do you see it as voluntary, like OPM has said, or mandatory?
Yeah, well, it's somewhat voluntary, but it's also if you don't answer, I guess you get fired.
Somewhat voluntary, but if you don't answer, you get fired. That's funny.
What it really
I'm
is,
still lost on that.
what it is do people exist? We have this massive government with millions of people, and nobody knows who's working for the government, who's not. So what they're doing is they're sending out a letter to everybody, and they're saying, "What were the things you did last week?" I guess they ask for 5. And if people are working, it's easy. I could tell you 5 things I did last week. I could tell you 5 things I did 6 weeks ago, right? If they're there and they're working, they're able to say they did 5 things during work. And that means they're working and they're with us and they have no further obligation. If they're not, it could be there's no such person. It could be that the person's no longer working. They're no longer living at that address. They may be moved. Maybe they moved to a different country, or maybe the person doesn't exist. And we then take that person off the payroll, and we save a lot of money by doing that. But that's one of the only ways. I think it's a very smart thing. And it says, if you don't answer, essentially, there's a penalty to pay. Like that's the end of the job.
Okay, yeah, there's a whole much to do about this whole thing with the email and what Elon is firing people and whatever that whole shindig. Um, I think what he just said is legitimate, right? We need to know if people are there. There's definitely abuses taking place in government for sure. We all know this, especially as of late. And while we all are being ripped off, and to some extent will continue to, we'd like now to at least stop the bleeding, right? Let us get a chance to heal. Let this wound that we've been, blood has been just running loose through, dare I say, spurting out of. We need to plug that hole right now, which is essentially what he's saying. We're planning to do.
Famous statement. Well, I can say the same thing. The buck stops here. No, we have to find out if people are getting paid and they're not working, and they have a problem. Let's say they have another job, and then they write in false statements. It's a big problem if they write in false statements. They may be working for somebody else, but getting paid by the U.S. government, and that would mean that they're not allowed to be doing that. They're not allowed to be working for us and be working for somebody else. We're paying them a lot of money.